Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. We are doing the big spin. Why? Because there are no races to be raced at this time slot like I would normally. So it's just repeat races for the Zwift games or makeup races. And as you guys know, I just kind of do things once and that's kind of it. I don't repeat my results. It's the best I am on the best day, I guess. But at the end of the day, I don't repeat them. So there's nothing going on, like, oddly enough. There is no crit races, there is no, there's nothing, there's just nothing. I don't know. Here's what it is, we got like 5 minutes before we launch on this event. Big spin. Make sure we got the bot up and running, which we do. So hopefully you're having a good time. We are beautiful, plus 15, looks like spring. Awesome, getting excited to go out and ride. But the catch to that whole scenario is tomorrow the temperature drops, and then we are expecting anywhere from 15 to 30 centimeters of snow. So, yay. And by yay, I mean that sucks, because number one, when you have big snowstorms like that, it is brutal to get around. I mean, I do have a four-wheel drive vehicle for such cases, but still, with snow tires and everything, and it's still treacherous at best because people drive around, forget what it's like. Anytime it's clear and the roads are nice and dry for any amount of time, we forget how snow really works in this country almost immediate. It's amazing to me how quickly we forget how to drive in snowy conditions. So just means a longer commute. This means a pain in the ass. Here we go. But we're doing the big spin, new course. We're in London, 18K, not a lot of elevation, 100 meters, big group. We got like 330 people in here. Again, this is not a race. People late join, they get punched in the pack. So I mean, it's the purest group ride that you will see on Zwift. There is no such thing as a group ride on Zwift. You know, lots of other people have said that. It's, you know, go out for a nice chill ride, unless you go on a group ride where they've got the, if you've ever experienced it, the red gates, where it doesn't let you go or it punts you. Those are the only exact group rides, right? Or if you're riding with a bunch of people that you actually know. I've done some rides with some somewhat local ride clubs, and everybody's pretty civil about it, much like they would be on a normal group ride. But yeah, big spin. We have not won the bike yet. It'd be awesome to win that and then go climb, because I think I've got a climbing event to make up. That was the weird thing with the weekend, I guess. The climbing, like, they started the climbing events on the 15th. They ran for like 2 days. That fifth event, it's kind of how it went, I guess. Because I didn't have the, I guess I could have raced it on Saturday when I didn't do tiny races, but I had planned on doing tiny races, and then that on the Sunday. I don't know. This time change has messed up everything that I do. I don't know what we're gonna do here. We're gonna figure something out. I kind of want to stick to the same time, but maybe we gotta move stuff. I don't know. You guys tell me. You know, I'm not by any stretch the most brilliant individual in the world. The glasses are lying to you. I'm not an intelligent man. That's just how this works. But yeah, we got over 400 to do this 18K. We're just gonna putz around and chit chat about all sorts of stuff. I got some things to work on. I got the cold plunge tub all set up, which is awesome. I gotta record some voiceovers, and that video hopefully will be out Wednesday. I gotta work on that after I do this ride. So, pretty excited. It's awesome. It just can control it with my phone. It's great. And it's cold. And it can make it warm. So I don't have to do necessarily cold plunge. I can do like warm plunge. But that doesn't have the same health benefits. All right, here we go. 10 seconds. Everybody's chomping at the bit. I don't know how they throw people in this pen. But I'm going to watch people fly past me and fly out the gate like any reasonable Zwift games. And look at these guys. Like, they're sprinting. They got to go. They're racing for the front. And it's all about being, in the top. So many hundred. But like I said, people get added on right here and there. Guys busting out a coffee right in the break. Like, that's awesome. Actually, that's a ballin' move. You sprint out the gate, get attached to some fasties, and then pop your coffee. It's a pretty sick move. We're just in this massive group of 120, 30 people. Suppose I should turn that off so it looks a little more reasonable for you guys. Hey, what's going on, George? Welcome to a very casual Monday. Actually, IRL laugh out loud at the coffee pop comment out the gate. We'll try a big spin. Great idea. Yeah, it is the closest coffee ride you will get on Zwift. The nice thing is you'll find a group, whatever pace your legs want to go. There'll be somebody in that area. You'll have draft the entire time, pretty much. The only way this is going to get separated is maybe if a course had a bigger climb. I just want the bike, George. Really, that's all I want. I just want that big, obnoxious bike. So far, for our spins, we got the Kanji jersey from Makura. We got the earmuffs, aka the headphones, the safety, just in case you want to cut your lawn. And we just got the tri-spoke wheels, which I don't know how fast they are. They are full disc in the back, which is kind of wild. But I think the stat's slower than the actual disc, so you'll never use them unless it's a neutralized race, in which case, that's it. Same thing with a bike. I will never ride the bike. unless it's a neutralized race. And then I'm totally on that bike. Like, I mean, there would be nothing better than doing like some national championship race with neutralized bikes and you roll up with that bad boy. Like that's how it goes. Most people do. Like some people collect the jerseys. I mean, I get it. I mean, if there's something nice, I'll wear it. But I mean, to be honest, all I wear is the team jersey. I mean, they even gave me the alternative team jersey a little while ago. And I don't even wear that because, you know, it's not the OG one. How you doing today, shut up legs? I want to collect watts per kilogram. 100%. And there's different ways to do that. You know, it's polarized training, or, you know, there's lots of ways to kind of up those things. But, you know, it's a lot of grinding, really, mileage at low to build that base. I think I got the bike, was going to use it tonight's Zwift games, but warmed up. It was so bad. Thing is with Zwift games is they're neutralized. So I mean, the bike is bad outside of the event, but in the event it's no different than any other bike. So you're just as fast. That's the word on the street anyways. It was like that for Canadian Nationals as well. They neutralized the bikes. One of my friends, a couple of my friends I should say, used the Buffalo bike to ride E-Nationals. They were rolling around on that thing. Which is funny, right? Because it throws people off, because I think sometimes, like with Canadian Nationals, a lot of people were unaware that it was neutralized. So when you don't know that, and some dude is on like that bike right beside you, you know, pushing and keeping up, and you're like, heck, that bike's like so much slower. It's gonna mess with your head. You know, it may not do anything, but it's like, it can mess you. Never trust Zwift. That is also a very valid point. And I learned that through the Specialized coffee rides, because they promised that mixtape jersey, and I want to say for the first 2 months, Zwift would say, "You've unlocked the Specialized mixtape jersey." But in reality, there was nothing in your pen. So, yeah. I mean, it would definitely, you could jump on that bike and find yourself in a world of hurt too. Mentally, it would get me more than the others. So for you, the mental game would have been on yourself, so a disadvantage. You're like, I'm sure this is heavier. Yeah, it's funny how powerful the mind can be at times. I mean, I'm sure you've all done 100+ kilometer rides in the real world, and you will all know that you go through a wide variety of things in that time period, and a good chunk of that is mental stuff. You know, your mind plays tricks on you. You think you're gonna die, like all sorts of things. You know, when I used to fight, you know, sometimes you get yourself in a spot of trouble in a match, and it's just like, you just got to think that I might be hurting, but that guy's hurting more. You got to like almost play little mind games with yourself to motivate yourself, just to get that little extra push, you know, because I think human beings do like to, as a whole, we like the easy route. I mean, which makes sense, right? You can, you know, walk across a footbridge across a river, or you can swim across, you know, the rapids and get to the same place. We're all kind of that mentality. We want to take the easiest route possible. So sometimes, if we're not disciplined and working on that not give up attitude, sometimes we can just pack it in probably a little too early. Because your body can put out a lot more than I think we know sometimes. You just gotta, you know, that's where that dig deep saying comes from. Sometimes you just gotta dig it out. Did a new PB on all power values for 6 minutes plus. Nice. Yesterday I was sure I was just go easy in the Alp. It took 3-4 days, didn't expect anything. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Like it's, you know, it's funny too, sometimes when we go in with our lowest expectations, it's when we do our best. And that's a thing too. It is. It's definitely. There are times I'll get on the bike and my legs will be like, it's not going to be a good day, and it turns out to be a better day. But that's amazing, George. That's awesome. You are definitely coming into your own in B there, which is awesome to see. You know, and sometimes having that a little bit more freedom is going to push you as well. You know, you don't have that expectation on yourself. You know, it's sometimes it's easier to navigate. You know, so I imagine being the best at anything comes with a lot of pressure and expectation that sometimes, you know, it'll have you crumble. I mean, the unfortunate thing with this world is you might be the best at something, but seldom does the best person at anything remain the best person at anything for their entire life. It's just not a thing. There's always somebody that's going to surpass them somewhere, somehow. It's starting to feel home and be, which is good, which is good. I imagine the first couple races is a bit of a shock, but then you kind of know where you fit in. I know that, you know, I kind of give myself little goals, knowing, you know, what my strengths or weaknesses are, or, you know, kind of set some minor goals that may or may not be met and can be flexible. I'm sure if you remember some of my early C streams, I'd be like, okay, I just want to stick with the main group for as long as I can. Like, That would be a goal. And it's just, you know, like I just want to hang on, you know, and then it's like, okay, I want to make a lap. Then I want to make 2 laps, and then I just want to make it to the end. And then it's like, I want to be in the top half. But absolutely right, it does push you. Because one thing about cycling is it is ingrained in you from early on that you're going to chase the wheel ahead. You know, and there's some maturity that comes with that as well, like knowing when it's not a good idea to chase the wheel and just bide your time. But a lot of times it's, you know, chase the wheel, you know, especially like if you look at crit racing, it's all the team tactics revolve around is, you know, send one person, other teams will send somebody to chase it down, and then the group pulls them back. And then you do it again and again, and then maybe somebody gets away, or maybe they don't. I improved my example today in the loop-to-loop. My PB on hilly KOM. Nice. 8 seconds is huge. That is absolutely huge. You'll be making some nice gains, and you're doing it at the like the best time. Like, I mean, for me, like I said, we got 15-degree weather today. Tomorrow we're getting 30 centimeters of snow. Once spring kind of sprung, my mileage goes up on a huge basis and volume. So I mean, if you're starting summer with a good fitness boost, that is awesome. FTP increased in these 5 weeks, 214 to 2. Nice, very nice. Should check mine as well. Yeah, FTP is it's good to know kind of where you're generally at. I'm not a big tester guy unless I have to test. Like I tested for when I did the video on the ice plunge tub because I needed actual quantifiable metrics to compare. So that's why I did those 2 tests, which is good because usually I just look at the algorithm and see kind of where based I'm at. Like right now it tells me I'm at 266, which is higher than I was all last season. And September last season, I would say I was pretty fit outdoor wise. There's been a little bit of a drop, I feel, but that's maybe for distance more than anything else. Just because outdoors I tend to ride, you know, no shorter than 50, 60 kilometers an outing. Usually it's 100. Usually we're doing that 3-4 times a week, so it's all good. Oh, that is just FTP calculated by Zwift. I never do FTP tests. Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, testing, I'm not a big fan of. I'm just not a big fan of it. Like I said, if you really don't know where you're at, it's sometimes not a bad thing to kind of know. But I mean, and I mean, you have to kind of run the same power on everything. Like the power on my trainer and the pedals are pretty much the same, but I've never actually compared the power meter on the SL8 to my pedals. So there could be a variance of 5% makes a difference. 9-year-old vanish on me this evening, fair play. Yeah, there's some, that's the thing, you're never gonna catch a young guy that is relatively fit on a climb. They're just too light. They're gonna put a whole world of hurt on you on Zwift. And that's the problem too. Like, I mean, let's be honest, the hard thing with Zwift is you can't really tell who's ahead of you and where they're at. Although I will say with Sauce, like if you look at the riders nearby, I am scraping their heart rate data. So you can kind of tell, roughly where they might be. If they're wearing a heart rate monitor, that is. Nice. He'll grow and get heavy. Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, let's be honest. There's a big difference between, if you look at yourself, probably between 12-year-old you, 14-year-old you, 16 and 18, and then into your 20s. I mean, there's a lot of changes going on in people in those years. I mean, my little brother, he went from like being super short to like 6'4" by the time he was 17 years old. And it was like, for him, I think it was actually painful how much he grew. But yeah, it changed everything for him because one of the first things that went was his coordination. He just couldn't handle the rapid change in the size of his legs and body overall. So it took him a while to get his coordination under control. And he was pretty gangly. But then when he hit his 20s, he started filling out. And then he was just a big beast. Just a big man with a big chest. At 6'4" and 200 and whatever it is, 50 pounds or whatever, just a big man. Very big man. If you can do 215 on hilly KOM, you should be able to loop the loop in Cap B. Nice. Now, if you race a Cat B in Zwift games, that time still goes to your Cat C category, assuming, as long as you're within the power ratio. I'm going to assume it's no different than most Zwift power stuff. We got like 4 kilometers left. Happy lunchtime race today was like super fast primetime Cat C races. And you'll survive an off-peak. It's interesting you say that, George, because I screwed up with tiny races this weekend. Because of the time switch, it's kind of messed up all my racing schedule. I'm going to have to figure that out. But doing the Glasgow crit in lieu of that, it was interesting because, you know, I felt quite comfortable in those races. Like I felt fine. In fact, I felt at times I just wanted to go because I felt like I was going too slow. But yeah, it's the first non-event race, you know, that it hasn't been WTR or Zwift games or that I've probably run, or tiny races, which are just bonkers anyways in the first place, in a long time. So it's interesting. I ended up second because the guy went off the front, and that was kind of itty. I was surprised how quick he actually got away. But it was also interesting to look at the power, because everybody's power was like 0.7 to 0.5 watts per kilogram more than me, which just tells me I ran a more effective race. But you know, it's like anything. Crit courses I feel I'm a lot better suited for, or flat. Oh, and I'm fine. Like if you can punch like the Clyde, that's still short punch. That's a sprint and recover. Like I said, that's very much like crit racing. It's like go hard, go slow. I mean, the first rule of crit racing is kind of like go as slow as everybody will let you. Punchy diesel roller is me, really zero sprint. Mine depends on, I'm kind of with you there. I just, if I get pushed too hard for too long, I have no sprint. If I'm allowed to rest, I do okay. I can kind of creep out of nowhere, but it really makes a difference. Like, I can push 900 to, if you look at my power chart, just over 1100 watts sprinting, but it's largely affected, you know. Sometimes I can't even get over 5 if I've been pushed too hard. It's just how it is. But that's racing, right? You got to push the sprinters when they don't want to ride. You. Well, let's be honest, from a strategy perspective, if you want to push people, you do it on the climbs, because the draft isn't so much there. So they just have to kind of match you. You know, something like this, like I'm gaining what, 165 watts savings just by sitting in the draft here. I mean, 1.4 versus like guys ahead are doing 2.6. I mean, that's significant. It's a significant savings. What do we get? Let's see what we get. Come on, bike. Shoes. Shoes that I will never use. I know you liked it, George, because anytime we went up in tiny races and you were in my race, I knew I was in for a hurt. It's funny. It's just, like I said, it's what you should be doing. If that's, you know, if you've got the power to push on the climbs, you know, that's where you're going to hurt the sprinters, because those guys, like, let's be honest, raw watts on the ground is going to win, period. If you have some monster that can put out 1,500 watts, he's going to beat you. End of story. Just because he has that raw power on flat ground and momentum's his friend. But going up a hill, if you can punish that guy, absolutely do it, because it's going to take a match, maybe two, if not more, out of him, because he's got to stay with, right? Because he can't let you get too far ahead. Otherwise, he's got to burn a match to catch back up, which I've had to do before, where it's like I'll catch on the flats and then I got to sit there and try to recover. But then, you know, if there's any other features, you're screwed again, because you're just getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And these guys are, you know, kind of slow rolling. Like I said, if you got bigger teams, and like if you have team strategies and stuff like that, honestly, what you do, depending on what's important in the race, is like, you know, how you hurt the climbers is you start putting your big diesels out front, and you're just like, you know, you're not going to win the race, and they're just there to do a job, and that's to tire everybody the hell out. You know, it's like push their guys harder than you want to, right? Push at a pace that your climber is good with and can stick with, but, you know, to a point where you're going to hurt everybody else. It's good times. Sorry, buddy. It's all good. No, that's all racing, man. It's all racing. I honestly don't mind getting my ass kicked. I don't mind doing climbing races, and I don't mind doing races that I know that are not for me, because I know it's going to put me in a place where I got to work harder than I want to. Because, like I said, it's too easy. If I know I can sit in a group and just kind of sit in the draft and at a decent pace, and I'm not really hurting, I'll do that all day long. It's not going to bother me. It's kind of funny, the Glasgow crit, like I said on the other day, there was a guy going off the front. I would chase him down, because that's what you do in crit racing. But get up there, and then I would pull. I'd kind of say, like, okay, I'll work with you. Let's stay away, because we get like 3-5 seconds on the group. And they wouldn't do it, so it's like, okay, I'll just slow right down. Like, you know, that's the other good team tactic as well, is, you know, if you want to burn out sprinters and crits, is you send somebody, you know, you got to send somebody to chase, because if you don't, they'll just solo it themselves. So you got to send somebody up there. If you get the right combination of guys, like 2-3 guys from different teams that are willing to work together and pull equally, sometimes that'll stick, and then one of those three will win. But a lot of times what happens is is you get somebody that's lazy and then they'll just sit in the draft and they won't take their pulls. And then the group just pulls them back in and then you do it all over again. It's a lot of fun. Now the boys in B are kicking my ass in revenge. Yeah, but you'll be up there in no time, George. You'll be giving them a what's to. I think there's a huge, advantage to being a smaller guy and a good climber and all sorts of stuff. That's why GC guys are, built the way they are, and it's, you're going to win those kind of races, and then you have, the odd few races for your other types, like your sprinters or your breakaway specialists. And mind you, I think every race these days, somebody tries to go off the front. Very rarely sticks, but those are impressive efforts nonetheless. And if you look at it from a team perspective and World Tour perspective, if you're a lesser team, of course you're going to send a guy down the road early because he's going to get a lot of camera time. Sponsors get seen. It's a good thing to do at the end of the day. I don't know. That's what makes racing interesting. There's really a lot to it. Like I said, I kind of hope at some point there's a more team-orientated crit kind of league out there, so us bigger guys can assemble together and figure things out. But yeah, I would love to see like a crit racing league where there is preem laps, stick to the crit courses, obviously podiums matter, but also like preems and all that kind of stuff, and potentially standings. I think that would be a lot of fun overall. Yeah, they seem to be throwing a lot of money at cycling, so probably not a bad idea. I had seen something from I think it was Eric. That
I found this on the web.
The head guy.
Did cycling so probably not a bad idea. I had seen it.
Basically, that there was potentially a velodrome track for Zwift, which I think would be cool as well. Although I feel bad for any bike on the trainer. I think I'd have to find an aluminum frame or steel frame to throw on here if there was going to be a track thing, because I don't like sprinting on the carbon bike anyways. When I start rocking, I'm always paranoid that it's just going to snap. Not that it should, but there's always that in the back of your mind. Yeah, she's always listening. Always listening. And just speaks up and pops in there every once in a while, at least once a stream. Talking about the random things that come out of my mind and then searching them on the web. It's bizarre. Yeah, the Americans tried that Pro Crit League, but they made it weird because they had like subs and they had like the points were weird, and it's like not like regular crit racing. You learn these different rules, and I don't think, like, I think they were trying to make it like, here's a problem with a lot of things that, and people are going to probably write hate comments in here because it's like I'm going to hate on America for a minute. The problem with Americans sometimes is they want to Americanize things that are not Americans to make it popular with Americans. And what they do when they do that is they eliminate a strong base of people that would be interesting in the long run. So like with that American Crit League, you know, they wanted uniforms, they wanted numbers, they wanted all this kind of stuff, and it wasn't like the first person that crossed the line at the end wasn't the winner, because it was points based on laps, so you could win the race without winning the race. So it's funny because there was people that would finish and they'd be, you know, arms up in the air, and then the announcer's like, I don't know what they're celebrating for, because, you know, they haven't really won the race here. And so it was weird. So anybody that was like super into crit racing was already confused. And I mean, there were teams that were in there, like Team Mike's Bikes, who do a lot of crit racing in Southern California, you know, and there were a lot of teams that were created, and they wanted to, like, the other Americanization of it that was really bizarre was the fact that they had team names like the Miami, oh, what's the name of them? Miami, whatever. Pink jersey, kind of Miami Vice riding stuff. It's Justin Williams, who's like Legion of Los Angeles. Their team, it was kind of a spin-off. One of their guys went and ran the Miami team as part of this league. And, you know, they had the Denver whatever, Destroyers or whatever it was. And they wanted it like sports teams, because in North America, everybody loves their football jerseys. And I think they were trying to get it like that. And it just, I mean, that part, you know, I don't know if, you know, a city thing is the way to go, or if it's just a team thing like they have in Europe. Like, I mean, if you like, you know, Vismalise on a bike, or, you know, whichever other team, you know, Canyon, or, you know, your teams, right? And those guys will change based on sponsors. So I don't know if tying them to a city was a good thing, but that might have been too, just because they wanted like the road races and home things, much like they have with other sports, because they kind of want to draw the local into that thing. It was just, it's weird. They very Americanized it. I mean, now that GCN's done, I don't know where it's going to be broadcast. I don't know for here if Flow Bikes or Discovery's picking it up, but it's going to be very hard for them to get the thing. And the problem is, you know, I'll say it, the announcing was terrible, because it was very, again, American color broadcasting, weird, you know, sounded like Monday Night Football kind of thing. It's just bizarre, but that's just, that's how America does things, man. It just messes them up. But like I said, you know, back to what I was originally talking about, was it would be awesome to have a non-Americanized Zwift kind of racing league where you have crit teams and you go out every week and race strictly crit courses, get your preems, you know, take the wins, work for somebody based on the course, kind of do that stuff. I think it would be fun to kind of go out and do that, you know, and have the Discord chat going and communicate, and, you know, have people mark other people and just do the crit racing thing. But I mean, Zwift is different in a lot of ways too from regular crit racing, where you know, bike handling plays so much of a role into it, and line choice and all that kind of stuff, whereas Zwift is definitely power rules supreme. You know, you can save a lot of energy in a crit race just by where you are in the field, how you corner, you know, sticking in the drafts and choosing your own battles. But that's just me, guys. I know I was talking to my buddy Mitch on Two Wheels. We're talking about the upcoming race season locally, and whether or not what we're gonna do, because we got some things. What's today? The 18th. probably in a couple weeks I'll let you guys know sort of what's going on my end of things, but there's some moving parts that are happening, so we're just trying to figure out what to do for the season. It'll be interesting. Zwift did a great job with the elites, the Zwift games. Feels like they only did after my whoosh signing with UCI. And that's, you know, that's the big thing is like, Zwift has always been the big thing. What do we got going on? What do we got going on? Hey, Thunderous, thanks for the raid, buddy. Appreciate it. I got a raid from Thunderous over there on Zwift. We're just chilling after the big spin, buddy. Appreciate the raid. Riding is going good. But yeah, like, you know, that competition with Zwift and my whoosh, you know, with the World Championships, UCI going a different way than Zwift, has definitely pushed them in. I mean, it's good. Like, I mean, having some competition is healthy to push a platform in a direction that might be better. So they don't just rest on the fact that they've got a large user base that's always going to be there. I mean, I've stuck with Zwift mainly because at the end of the day, that's where the team that I'm on races, so that's what we do. I thought about downloading some of the other platforms, especially because the one's free, but I just never get around to it. I just don't have enough time. It's like Trainer Road. I have a lot of buddies that do Trainer Road. I was on it for a while prior to my injury, and I always look at kind of going back, but you know, it's sitting in a training program and doing that isn't as fun as racing, even if it's virtually. And most definitely, you have to you know, stick with your training program. So that means, Ruby, that's the one. Thanks, George. Oh yeah, man, it's been quite the kerfuffle. That doesn't sound good, doing this at all. Yeah, Ruby, I think they've got, like, cause I'm on a Mac. I think they've got it set up for Mac now. And I haven't got to it. Apparently it's all right. I mean, the price is right at free, but you know, the other part of it is too, is that, you know, if there's not the population and not the races, I'm not going to find myself, you know, probably being there, you know, unless it's a day like today where I just kind of like goofing around, you know, do a big spin ride and then just kind of working out the legs, because daylight savings time is stupid and screws everything up for you. That's just how it goes. Love the Trainer Road podcast. Yeah, me as well. That is when I ride, typically outside, I wear these, which are the the aftershocks, the over ears. So they don't go in the ear, they just kind of vibrate. You get the vibration, so you can hear what's going around. It doesn't plug your ear canal, so it's not, you know, you're not drowning out everything. I do like to hear kind of traffic and everything, but I also don't like blasting music. Oh, it's my whoosh that's free. There we go. But what I listen to is typically podcasts, and Trainer Road's definitely one of those. Those guys, I love science and science papers and more science. And those guys are definitely science-based. I don't know if I 100% agree with how their training program works, but you can't argue with the numbers. I think it pushes a little too hard for somebody my age, but they did introduce basically the master's training, which gives you a little bit more rest. I mean, when you start working in the weight training and the riding and everything like that I've been doing, it's I definitely need my my rest time to recover. I don't bounce back as but I hate the unmarked robos in my whoosh. There you go. There'll always be something. I mean, all these companies that started afterwards, they'll have used Zwift somewhat as a template, as a whiteboard, to kind of develop what they want and then figure out what they don't like and what they would like and put it in. I mean, I think what needs to happen is Zwift needs to kind of maybe start working with Sauce and those guys and what they're developing, because let's be honest, most of the guys that are out there that are racing and doing things, we're all saucy boys, man. Like, Sauce is great. The data is great. I mean, any data cyclist nerd is definitely all over the Sauce. Same earphones for me. Yeah, they're great, man. I love them. Cheaper brand, doesn't matter. It's the open hearing part that that does it. I know there was a company last year, Soundpeats, that makes a cheaper one. They sent me out a pair to evaluate. They're as good. I mean, it's whatever. It's you can definitely get some lesser brands that are just as good and just as effective as the SoundShocks ones. And I mean, I think they're a different company name now anyways. I think they've changed their name again. Yeah, I don't know if we have much wealth in Canada either. You're either Canada is where I live anyways, because like I'm in oil country. You're either up here or you're down here with the rest of us, kind of thing. It's kind of like rich people and everybody else. And I'm just with everybody else, grinding it out. So, I hear you. I've just been fortunate to have the following on YouTube that sometimes I luck out and get stuff sent to me for evaluation, and it's a bonus when it's good stuff that I would actually use and continually use, like the shocks. I mean, that's all those kind of things are bonuses in my world, 100%. Speaking of which, they should probably just sponsor the channel and give us a code and help us out for the season. It would be appreciated. But yeah, I mean, Trainer Road podcast, 100%. If you don't listen to it, it's well worth the listen. Those guys spend so much time researching the topics that they talk about and discuss it. It's good information, and then really you can go look and check out what they were doing. The new girl they have, I forget what her name is. She does a lot of the shorts. Scottish girl, I think. Sounds Scots anyways. She's, I like what she talks about. She does a really good job of that as well. But all the guys over here, like Ivy, Nate, they're all top notch. And I mean, they have the pedigree as well. Like, I mean, they all know what they're doing. She's hot. I'm there. I'm there for the intelligence. The intelligence is the big attractor for me. Definitely, I like the big brains. Big brains are always good. You know, I always need help with my primitive ape-like mind to be pointed in the right direction. So I need a big brain lady to keep me straight. But yeah, just like even the shorts are very informative. Yeah, it's great. They make great content, and I mean, they're independently run. You know, they're really self-funded, and they're just working on a product they believe in. I thought actually at one point the combination is the best. Absolutely. I thought at one point, there was a point there I thought, from what they were discussing on the podcast, I thought Zwift was going to acquire them. I think it was like last year, beginning of last year, because Zwift was going through some changes and they had some issues with, like, I think they were still having issues with Wahoo. And I thought for a moment that maybe they were going to take some of that tech, the training aspect and the AI development, and put it into Zwift, and that would have been amazing. I thought that would be great. I have to stop writing before thinking, otherwise I might get myself in trouble. That really depends. I mean, depends who reads it. You're probably not going to get in trouble. I mean, not from Trainer Road anyways, because I don't think they're dropping in here any time to watch, you know, long drawn out live streams where I'm just kind of turning pedals. Yeah, I would love to see it integrated. I don't know if it would be the best for the platform. Like I said, those guys are really invested in that, and they're very science-based. You know, Zwift, Wahoo, they always go through their rounds of layoffs and stuff, and they'll push a big chunk, develop some stuff, cut a bunch of guys. I mean, they're a business, they're looking to make money. I mean, I'm not saying Trainer Road isn't, but I think there's still that purity there with the owners. So, you know, if they could implement it, like basically drop it in where you have Trainer Road, but you just do them on Zwift roads, I'd be all over that. I'd pay extra for that, to be honest. I mean, I'm at a point that I would probably just get Trainer Road anyways and do it, but I always come to this dilemma. It's like, I get to spring, I know I'm going to ride outside. I know that riding virtually is going to basically drop off, and it's going to be a, you know, probably a one stream a week at a regular time, do one race, probably the Monday, because that's always kind of been the time, and the rest of the week it's outside, especially Saturday, Sunday. So first things that's going to go is tiny races, unfortunately. They're fun, but Saturday's too prime a day to give up. It's one of the few days where I can go out at, you know, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, you know, put in a 6-7 hour ride and have an amazing day in the mountains and so on and so forth. So, yeah, so having two, you know, things that I'm not going to do and paying for them is probably not the smartest. The green, yellow, red day system. Oh yeah, for telling you when you're going, and yeah, it's their AI is pretty good. Like I said, my buddy Mitch, he uses it to train all the time. It's really helped his power. I think he is Mitch's FTP at this point, if I'm not mistaken, is like 325 or 320 maybe. It's up there. He's strong kid. And he's gained most of that from just from doing trainer road. It's the main base of what he does. So it works. It definitely works. I was seeing, when I was on it, I was seeing good stuff, but then like I said, I tore my back and then I haven't gone to it since. So, and I've been doing more, like I said, theirs is more on all the time. Like their workouts are tough. My other friend, Jeremy, he's on it as well. And he's just, anybody I know that's killing it. Rob's on it as well. If you've watched the vlogs, Rob's on it as well. Everybody's on it but me. And they're all making decent gains. So, I mean, it definitely works. I just don't know how to fit it into my thing, because I was asking Mitch questions. I'm like, well, I race once a week. Is that going to interfere? And he's like, yes, it will. So, other than the season racing, and he's like, you got to plan your stuff to make sure that you're doing stuff right. So, I mean, the system's smart. I mean, it's for the price, you can't beat it, because you're not going to get a coach for that cheap. And you definitely make the gains. And he's like, the AI detection, because he tested that out for FTP, is bang on. So you always kind of know where you're at, which is good as well when you're racing, just so you don't go out there and blow the hell up. Yeah. Not sure if better than what the Garmin battery can tell me. Yeah, it's it'll be somewhat different. I use like a body battery. I think is highly based on HRV. I use athletics band, or not band, but metrics to do it in conjunction with that. So, I mean, you got to learn to read your own data, I guess, in a sense. Like, it's good, but it's not perfect. There you go. So we both get Trainer Road and meet in Canada later this year. Probably not. Not for me, anyways. It's like I said. I mean, I'm almost 55 now. It's just like the gains are hard to come by. My gains will come. Where you're going to see it is for me, because I still have probably weight that I can lose. Although because I'm doing weightlifting now, it's not helping in that category. But come summer, with the longer rides, I'll lose probably, I want to say like maybe 5 to 10 kilos over the next 3 to 4 months. That will be a bigger push than what I will gain in FTP. Although that being said, I know for a fact, and I haven't really trained that hard this winter. Like, I mean, I've done a lot of base mileage, and the races that I always do are just kind of doing what I always did. But for that 90 days with the ice bath, like, my baseline is usually way lower at this point than it is at the end of the season. And it's dropped a bit, but it's not as significant as a drop that I usually see over the winter. So I'm very interested if I can stay healthy for an entire race season, where I end up. Sauced up. There you go. So we'll see. We'll see how it all sort of plays out at the end of the day. I mean, it's just fun. Like, I mean, I've got, I'm still contemplating whether or not I do nationals or not here in June. Because the nice thing is I get to ride in Masters. So I get to ride with people my age. I'll still get absolutely fucking destroyed. But just to do it for the sake of doing it. You know, that might be my big race of the year. I don't know, we'll see how badly I get punched. All right, thanks George, appreciate the chat. We're about to jump off anyways. That's my, my hour for the day. A little lighter than most Mondays, but that's all good. Appreciate the chit chat. We'll work on that. Maybe we'll do it. I think on Trainer Road you can actually train together, so maybe that'll be something we'll do. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll rope some other people in and we'll get a big group of YouTubers to do virtual training together. But you get that sleep because it's important. Like I said, I'm going to jump off here, take a shower, hang out with the dog, figure out what we're going to do for the rest of the week, do the voiceover for the video coming out, take a nice bath, chill out, get some recovery in, have a good time. So on the YouTube side of things, we'll catch you guys later. Take care. And on the Twitch side, we're going to find somebody to raid. We're going to take this raid elsewhere.